Hi, I'm Jim Martin. At Health Republic Insurance in New Jersey, we believe that all citizens need to be informed about the unique healthcare issues that affect their lives. That's why we're proud to support programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation and their partners in public television.
Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by activists in cooperation with the American Medicine Chest Challenge. Choose New Jersey. Our mission is attracting companies to the Garden State. NJIT, New Jersey Institute of Technology. Health Republic Insurance of New Jersey. The New Jersey Education Association, working for great public schools for every child. Berkeley College. And by the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey, founded by the Jewish community. Promotional support provided by the Star Ledger, powering NJ.com, and by Commerce Magazine.
This is One-on-One.
When you first heard that they were doing Charlie Rose and Gayle King, didn't you go, what?
People like laughing at others, so I don't mind if the other is me.
See, you go right into the character. That's what it is.
I'm bringing families together a half an hour each week. Man, I'm doing something special.
And so I do feel successful.
Welcome to One-on-One. I'm Steve Adubato. Everything you wanted and needed to know about business in this state and the nation, you're about to find out right now. Brad Fouss is in the house, Executive Vice President, Wholesale Banking, Sun National Bank, backed by popular demand. How you doing?
I'm very good, thank you.
You told our producers 2014 would be a good year for business in New Jersey.
Yes.
Where'd you get that from?
If you look at what's happened in the last couple of years, there's been a lot of headwinds to businesses in New Jersey. You had a deep recession. Coming out of the recession, you had Obamacare, which a lot of companies are really struggling to understand how that worked, the impact. And then on top of that, you had the government shutdown, not understanding what was going on. This is the first year we've had since probably 2008 where you're going into the year without any of these headwinds. And I think there's a lot of businesses that have been holding back. You've got a very low interest rate environment still, and you've got banks willing to lend. So I think it's going to be a very good year for businesses to take advantage of the market.
Let me ask you something, Brad. The uncertainty. When there is a lot of uncertainty like that, does that cause business to, I know this is a hackneyed expression, hang out on the sidelines?
Yes, I think it does. You know, it's...
What I mean by that is not want to jump in, invest, spend their money, borrow, get involved, do it.
Yeah, business owners are going to do, no matter what those headwinds, what's happening in Washington, Obamacare, businesses are going to do what they need to do to run their business, but jump in and take the extra leap to buy a piece of equipment, do an expansion, hire new employees. If they've got those headwinds, they're going to probably hold back a little bit. And they've had these headwinds for the last couple of years.
What industries, as you see it, have more of a headwind, if you will, have more energy and are better primed right now, positioned to do well?
I think manufacturing here in New Jersey, even though you've lost a lot of manufacturing over the last couple of years. I mean, when I was a lender in the state of New Jersey back 20 years ago, you had a lot more manufacturing companies, small to mid-sized here in New Jersey than you do today. But you still have a lot of manufacturing, and you're hearing more and more about some manufacturing coming back to the United States. So I think they're very well poised. You know, part of it is some companies have found that the quality overseas as they move manufacturing there wasn't what they wanted, they moved it back. I think distribution, you know, you look at what New Jersey has, we're in a great location. You've got the port right here. You're right between New York, Philadelphia, you've got the New Jersey Turnpike. So we're really well poised for distribution companies.
Okay, but while New Jersey, we're actually talking to the head of Choose New Jersey, Tracy McDaniel, and their slogan has something to do with location, right? But there are other parts about New Jersey that, for some might argue from a competitive point of view, ain't so great. So let's talk tax policy, regulation, et cetera, et cetera. How does New Jersey rate or rank from your perspective in terms of business attractiveness, beyond location being an advantage for us when it comes to the perception of many about our tax policies and our attitude toward business when it comes to the regulation by government of business?
New Jersey is not the most favorable state, no question about it.
What does that mean, favorable?
Favorable meaning, for what you said, tax policies. It's, you know, the taxes here are very high.
As opposed to a state like?
North Carolina. The advantages, though, that New Jersey has, so it is harder to get businesses to move into the state. They look at it and they say, look, some of the policies aren't as favorable to businesses, taxes are higher here, but businesses that are here, I've had companies over the years that have relocated down to, say, the Carolinas, for example.
Because they thought it was cheaper.
Well, when they ran the numbers, it was cheaper.
And what happens?
One of the big issues they have is employees. You don't have the talent pool that you have up here. One example, and this is going back, 6 or 7 years ago, I had a printing company. They opened up a second facility down in the Carolinas. They rolled out that the land is cheaper, buildings are cheaper, employees are cheaper. All that was absolutely true. Taxes are cheaper. But what they found was they don't have the quality of employees down there, and they ended up pulling a lot of the business back in here into New Jersey. Translation:
New Jersey has better people.
Absolutely.
Employees.
Absolutely.
Better educated, harder workers. What are we talking about here?
It's all. From an education standpoint, if you're any type of service company where you need higher educated people, you look at here, you look at all the colleges in the area.
New York, Philadelphia, New Jersey, you've got some pretty darn good higher education institutions.
Absolutely, and a lot of people grow up here and they stay in this area. You look at, I've even heard stories of companies down there, the work ethic here, New Jersey's work very hard, and employees work very hard, from factory workers all the way up. And you don't get that in some other areas of the country.
Talk about the lending, the credit environment. What do you see 2014-15, and not that you can predict that far out? Do you have a sense, Brad, that loosening up more and more, hey, listen, we're ready. We're ready to unleash, if you will, those dollars because we're more confident from a banking perspective?
Absolutely, with one exception. I'll tell you what that exception is. Going into the recession, all banks pulled back. We went in the recession. Right now, Sun National Bank and a lot of our competitors all have a lot of cash and really need to deploy that. So lending has gotten looser, and banks.
Hold on, sorry for interrupting. Go back. We need to deploy that. What does that mean?
If you look at banks' balance sheets, and I'm being very broad,
sure.
I'll use Sun National Bank as the example, we have a lot of cash on our balance sheet. How banks make money, we don't make money by sitting on cash on our balance sheet. We make it by putting into loans to businesses. So, and a lot of banks are in the same position. So banks want to go out and lend right now, and a lot of bankers, I think, feel similar to me, that the economy is going to start picking up. It's a good time to lend. The one exception, some lower tier companies that are maybe on the bubble a little bit, I'll say, from a risk standpoint, the regulatory environment on banks is, we've all seen in the paper, has really tightened up. And the regulators really encourage banks to lend to better companies, stronger companies. They're still discouraging banks from lending to weaker companies. And I think there's some companies that are very good companies that regulators are really hammering banks if they're not making, just the best loans. And I think that could hold back the economy a little bit.
Are you talking about the regulations that have been in place for several years that Congress passed, that you and your colleagues are trying to...
Dodd-Frank?
Dodd-Frank,
yes.
Named after
the
Senator Dodd,
yes.
and former Congressman Barney Frank from
yes.
up in Massachusetts. Are you talking about that? You're saying that has tightened things up in terms of credit, loans, because the loans have to be of a certain...
That's part of it. Well, that's part of it, and also, the federal regulators, whether it's the OCC or the Fed that regulates banks, they weren't as diligent as they should have been going into the recession, and they want to make sure that they don't make some of the mistakes of the past. And it's like anything else. The pendulum's probably gone a little bit too far. It needs to come back a little bit because banks have to be willing to lend to, not just the best customers. There are some really good companies out there that maybe have a little hard time getting financing.
Holding on to the money on the sidelines doesn't help consumers, and as you said, you've got to move that money too.
Correct. It doesn't help the economy either.
Brad Fouss, Executive Vice President, Wholesale Banking at Sun National Bank. Brad, thank you for breaking it down for us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Good stuff. Stay with us. We'll be right back right after this.
If you would like more information on this program, or if you'd like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Visit us online at oneonone.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD, and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
One-on-One is honored to have J.Kotowski, Special Agent in charge of the New Jersey Division of the DEA, which stands for?
Drug Enforcement Administration.
Carl, let me ask you, We were joking before we got in the air. People hear DEA. What happens?
Well, a lot of times, you know, they become a little standoffish because they're wondering, wow, what do they know about me? But
you don't mean me. I mean,
no, anyone in particular.
You can see how comfortable I am around you.
Exactly.
Yes,
exactly.
But people do hear DEA, and it means a lot.
It sure does. It sure does, because you know, our jobs as DEA special agents is to enforce the federal narcotic laws, and naturally with different drugs such as marijuana, cocaine, you know, prescription drugs, all those are abused and abused a lot. So you know, people at times get very uncomfortable.
You know, we are partnering with the folks at the American the American Medicine Chest Challenge. You'll see the website up there. We're trying to do everything we can to inform people about the seriousness of the abuse of prescription drugs. But we're going to talk about prescription drugs, talk about heroin, talk about synthetic drugs. 3 huge problems.
Right.
Do the prescription drug thing first, and then we'll do heroin. How bad is the prescription drug problem?
Prescription drugs right now nationwide is probably the biggest drug problem, not only in the state of New Jersey, but throughout the country. It started probably back around 2007, 2008, where DEA recognized that a lot of people were abusing prescription drugs, primarily your pain pills. That would be your oxycodone, brand names such as Oxycontin, Vicodin, Percocet, even some of the antidepressants such as Xanax. And what it is prescription drugs gives a person the same effects as a heroin user. So you have a heroin addict, he or she cannot get a fix on heroin, then they turn to prescription drugs. One of the things that surprised everyone in law enforcement and also healthcare professionals was that for all of us, our homes were the source of supply for prescription drugs.
But here's the thing. The word epidemic is being used here, Carl. That's what's throwing me off. I mean, we did this thing on the American Medicine Chest Challenge. We went up to Hackensack University Hospital. It was it was a drug-free initiative where we were interviewing all these folks. The word epidemic's being thrown all over the place. I'm thinking, what makes an epidemic, and why is this an epidemic?
I think this is an epidemic because it's spread so rapidly. It just started, you know, the teens, young adults just trying it every once in a while. The word gets out, and before you know it, it's going from, you know, one small town to the next.
And social
county,
media
state.
has something to do with it.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
What does that have to do with it?
Well, the social media, just the fact that, you know, individuals are texting, Facebooking to their friends, hey, I just had some oxys, had this, I'm partying, we got some oxys. You know, the big things with high school and college students right now, Steve, is they call them either Skittle parties.
Skittle parties?
Or farming parties, as in pharmaceutical. And what it is you know, the kids come to a party, they have a handful of prescription drugs. It doesn't really matter which type.
Yeah.
They throw it in a bowl, and then they spend the night just swallowing pills and drinking alcohol.
Do they even know what they're taking?
Not at all.
Well, where are they getting this stuff, Carl? That's what I'm not getting.
And that's the thing, they're getting it from the home. That's the biggest source of supply for prescription drugs. So it starts at the house. It's all of the expired, unused prescription drugs that are in the medicine cabinet, the ones that we don't need. That's why DEA and a lot of the police agencies right now in the state of New Jersey participate in take-back initiatives.
Let's go through this.
Sure.
There's a couple that are really important. By the way, the website's up. Natalie, is the website, okay, thank you very much. Let's keep that website up because this is important. We'll bring some information to you, but the websites that we have up are there to give you much more information so you can act on it. We're talking about some initiatives that help people get what they need. The first one you talked about is?
The National Take Back Initiative.
Take back what and where? How does this work?
The Take Back Initiative started by DEA back in 2010. We had our very first one, and basically it's an opportunity for people to get rid of, anonymously get rid of their expired and unused prescription drugs in the home. Okay.
I'll give you an example.
Sure.
Surgery a while back, I don't have a problem saying this on the air, I have some oxycodone left.
Right.
Probably 7 or 8 pills. Why? Because the pain stopped.
Sure.
But I kept it around, frankly, because I was thinking if, in fact, the pain came back, I would have it. Is that a mistake?
Yes, it is.
It is a mistake.
It is. If you're not using it anymore, you should get rid of it. Because just you alone saying that I have oxycodone at my home, if someone knows where you live, hey, wow. You know.
The camera guys are laughing. I should not have told you that?
Well, no, but I mean, that's the concern.
Is that common?
That's common. So is people jumping into dumpsters, going through trash, looking for unused pills.
But let's go back.
Sure.
If I'm going to do the right thing, if we go back to the take-back thing, Natalie, do that. If I'm going to do the right thing with that oxycodone, I want to use myself because I don't think I'm alone here.
Okay.
To do the right thing means I take it and do what?
Okay, this is what you do. You can do it two different ways. Luckily, in the state of New Jersey, which is very nice, they have what's called Project Medicine Drop.
Project Medicine Drop.
Project Medicine Drop. It's sponsored by the New Jersey Division of Consumer Affairs.
Got it.
And you can find all the information on their website, okay? But what it is, it's an offshoot of the DEA Takeback. And what Project Medicine Drop involves, there are 73 police agencies right now in the state of New Jersey that will take back any unused, expired prescription drugs 24/7.
What do you do? You just bring it in?
You bring it in. There's no questions asked.
What about, aren't they going to ask me, Adubato, what were you doing with the...
No, not at all. Not at all. It's all anonymous, Steve. There's no questions asked. They bring it in. You just drop it in a container, a locked container. It has to be in a police department, a police office, a district, because naturally you don't want abusers going in, sticking their hand in the box and taking out. And then twice during the year, DEA sponsors its nationwide National Take Back Initiative.
Got it.
We will be having our 8th one April the 26th of 2014.
Yep.
In conjunction with all our law enforcement partners in the state as well as throughout the country.
By the way, real quick, before we go to heroin, someone runs out of, in my case is one, the other case is you run out. What happens? What are people doing?
I'm sorry,
They run out of the prescription drugs. They start scrambling.
Oh, no, they should be going back to their doctor and seeing their doctor.
And if their doctor says no, some of these people, that's when they're going out looking for, right?
That's when they're going out looking for. That's where they're either checking online, talking to friends, hey, where can I get some oxys? Right now, oxys are the most popular, whether it's in this state or anywhere else. It's a 30-milligram tablet of oxy, one tablet, $30.
One tablet, $30, but the heroin, cheaper?
Oh, much cheaper. $5 to $6 on the street right now.
How much?
$5 to $6 for a bag of heroin.
Is that why heroin is becoming more of a problem?
That's it. This is what happened. About 8 to 12 months ago in New Jersey, but also nationwide, this is a nationwide trend, DEA, we started to see a trend where due to the crackdown on prescription drug abuse, people were thinking, wow, I cannot get my oxys, I cannot get my Percocet, my Xanax as easy as before. Law enforcement's cracking down, healthcare officials. So what they're doing, why spend the $30 for one tablet? I can go out on the street, get a bag of heroin for $5 or $6. It's the same physiological effect. So that in itself also increased the popularity of heroin in the state and increased the number of users.
And finally, give me 1 minute on the synthetic drug issue.
Synthetic drugs. Two different types. It's really an FYI for the parents. You have synthetic marijuana, synthetic cocaine. When you hear the word synthetic, which you have to remember, it's man-made. It's not naturally produced.
And don't let people think, hey, not big deal, because it's synthetic, it's worse.
It's huge. A lot of fatalities. Anytime you take synthetic marijuana, synthetic cocaine, people experience suicidal thoughts, hallucinations.
Cheaper?
Not necessarily.
Okay,
not necessarily, but it's very dangerous. Very dangerous.
People, if they're hallucinating, God knows what they're going to do.
I've had reports, I've read reports throughout the United States. People take it, whether it's K2 spice, which is synthetic marijuana, bath salt, synthetic cocaine. They think people are outside their home. They start, if they have a gun in the house, they start shooting through the window, sledgehammer to their walls because they think people are inside their walls, tearing up their skin because there's something in their skin. It's terrible.
Special Agent in Charge, the New Jersey Division of the DEA, J.Kotowski, we have scratched the surface, but throughout this segment, as part of our public service, you've seen the information up of several websites. Your job is to go on those websites. Parents, others who are concerned, get more information. Carl, I promise it will not be the last time that we explore these issues with you. I know we've just scratched the surface, but thank you for all the work that you've been doing for nearly 30 years on behalf of the citizens of this nation.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
We'll be right back right after this.
If you would like more information on this program, or if you'd like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Visit us online at oneonone.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD, and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
Dr. Jacqueline Brunetti, Medical Director, Department of Radiology, Holy Name Medical Center. Good to see you, Doctor.
How are you? Good afternoon.
Let's talk prostate cancer. How common is it and how treatable?
That's an interesting topic. Specifically for you as a man.
Yeah.
I think that in the last few years, it's about the third most frequent diagnosed cancer of all cancers. The issue is recently, as you must have read or heard on the radio or television, there's a lot of controversy as to overdiagnosis and overtreatment. And in the 1980s, when PSA screening started, there was a huge upsweep.
Everybody's got to get screened, right?
Yes, upsweep in the number of diagnoses. And what the argument is that we're overdiagnosing the cancers. We don't need to be doing this, so we shouldn't be screening people, and that's very wrong. The reason there's actually been an improved survival with prostate cancer is that because of screening, we're diagnosing cancers earlier.
What happens when you, Doctor, when you diagnose and detect prostate cancer earlier? What impact does it have on prognosis and outcome?
Well, you always want to diagnose early, because early means it's confined to the organ, there's no evidence of spread, and treatment is much more effective. The issue, though, with prostate cancer is that it's becoming more apparent that there are indolent cancers and there are aggressive
indolent
cancers.
Meaning?
Indolent meaning low grade, slow growing, tendency not to metastasize.
Right.
So the key is to have a way of identifying who needs to be treated and who can sit back and say, okay, you have this low-grade localized tumor, let's watch it. If you think of breast cancer and the history of how breast cancer was treated and diagnosed, early on, they would remove the entire breast for any type of cancer. Now we're at a stage where you can do mammography, you can do ultrasound, you can do MRIs, and identify very localized disease and localized treatment.
But go back to the prostate cancer screening. Is it 40? Is it 50? What is it?
The American Urologic Association, I believe, says 55 to 69.
What do you say?
I say probably 40. And
Really?
the reason being is because our diet is terrible. It's very inflammatory. It is probably one of the etiologies of the development of cancers. I think it's always better to know earlier.
And by the way, let's clear it up. We are talking men.
Men.
Okay. So, and by the way, what is the prostate?
Prostate is a small gland about the size of a walnut that sits at the base of the urinary bladder, the urethra, the tube that comes out of the bladder that goes into the penis that drains the urine. The prostate creates fluids that help with that go into what's called ejaculatory ducts. So it's sort of a fluid that carries the sperm.
Can you feel, because one of the things in terms of self-diagnosis, we're trying to, as women, learn to, I'm always sitting there going, okay, let me see if I can feel this. You can't, because I go to my urologist, she's like, what are you doing? You're not going to feel that.
No, you can't feel that.
I thought I could. You can't.
You can't.
You've got to get the test.
You have to have the test. And I think that if you have the family history, you might want to be screened earlier. If you're worried about it, you might want to be screened earlier. The problem, though, is that the PSA test alone is not accurate enough to really tell you if you have
let's talk about what is accurate. This multi-parametric MRI. I know what an MRI is. I don't know what a multi-parametric MRI is. What makes that? That's a form of radiation, no?
No. The beauty of MRI is that it is not radiation at all.
I'm sorry, I apologize about that. That's not. What is a multi-parametric MRI and why is that so important?
All right, what that really speaks to is a method or a protocol of how to do the MRI exam. And we look at the anatomy of the gland, and we also give a contrast agent called gadolinium. It's injected in a vein, and it shows the flow of contrast in and out of the gland.
How good is the picture?
Pictures are beautiful, outstanding. And then we look at one other thing, which is called a diffusion weighted sequence, which is a sort of a measure of density, gland density. So tumors tend to be hard and with little spaces in between, and then are differentiated from the rest of the gland, which has a lot of.
Is this about the best picture you're going to get of the prostate and the best diagnosis?
Right now, this is the state-of-the-art method of looking at the prostate
2 minutes
gland.
left. Let's talk treatment. Because radiation, this is where I want to get right. There are different forms of radiation. Radioactive seeds.
I believe that the data, and I am not a urologist, but the data shows that most methods are pretty similar in effectiveness. And I think that when a patient has a diagnosis of prostate cancer, it's important for them to know, number one, what is their Gleason score? Is this an aggressive?
Gleason score.
And the Gleason score is a measure of aggressiveness of tumor. Typically, a Gleason of 7 or higher means a more aggressive tumor. The other question a patient should ask is the tumor confined to the gland? The way to know that is by having the multiparametric MRI exam. And then beyond that, what is your PSA level? How old are you?
Right.
What's your life expectancy? Do you have other illnesses that would affect that?
And finally, doctor, that is why you are so big on lifestyle, on diet, on exercise.
Absolutely.
Talk about that.
So I did an integrative medicine fellowship actually with Andrew Weil's group at University of Arizona. So I am very tuned to diet and exercise, and particularly an anti-inflammatory diet for helping ward off or at least help prevent some of these degenerative diseases.
We can reduce the odds?
I believe we can reduce the odds. I am convinced that we can reduce the odds by really looking at what we put into our bodies, how much activity we get, and how we can control stress in our lives.
We can't guarantee anything, but we can help ourselves.
I believe so.
Doctor, I want to thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. Dr. Jacqueline Brunetti from Holy Name Medical Center. Important information for us men who have to take care of ourselves, for our women. Thank you.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Activists in cooperation with the American Medicine Chest Challenge, Choose New Jersey, NJIT, Health Republic Insurance of New Jersey, the New Jersey Education Association, Berkeley College, and by the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been produced in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System.
Play ball! Imagine you're enjoying your child's baseball game. As hard as it is to believe, one of the 9 children on the field may be abusing prescription drugs and getting them right out of your family's medicine chest. Join the American Medicine Chest Challenge by taking inventory and securing your medicine, safely disposing of your unwanted and expired medicine, and finally, talk to your kids. Visit AmericanMedicineChest.com to find out how.